Jeremy Corbyn.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The member for Waverley Valley asked some perfectly reasonable and pertinent questions about the cost of this whole project. Is there a PFI element involved in this? Is the private finance going into it as well? What will be the cost of it? What will be the cost and ultimate disposal of the nuclear waste? And who will pay, ultimately, in 60 years' time, for the decommissioning costs of this? Because the nuclear industry does not have a great record on either strike price or on decommissioning costs or on the costs of dealing with waste.
The right gentleman asked perfectly legitimate questions. On the decommissioning side of things, I'm glad to say that in the financing model that has been produced, decommissioning is in at the beginning as part of the overall costs that have been laid out. On the question about total costs, we will lay those out on final investment decision. Similarly, when it comes to the RAB cost to bill payers, all I can say to him as somebody who I know genuinely cares about the climate crisis is all of the evidence we have is that this is our least cost alternative compared to the alternative low carbon technologies. So it's a crucial part of the energy mix.
Gurinder Singh Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Firstly, may I congratulate the Secretary of State and this Labour Government on this incredibly important investment announcement today. As a physicist by training, I particularly welcome the investment in fusion technology as well as the traditional fission, and I'm sure this investment will make that a final outcome closer. Will the Secretary of State ensure that the benefits of this investment is felt across all our communities by ensuring a predominantly UK supply chain? And will he ensure all aspects of the nuclear jigsaw receive government support, including provision of nuclear fuel, decommissioning, safe disposal of nuclear waste products, and even the reuse of nuclear waste products that are currently stockpiled in future generations of reactors?
I think my honourable friend, Madam Deputy Speaker, makes a really important point, which is that across the life cycle of nuclear, there are important economic opportunities, and across the supply chain, there are important economic opportunities. And it's a constant theme of the questions that we've had today, which is the importance of realising that potential, and that's what we intend to do.
Blake Stevens.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Global tech giants like Microsoft and Amazon have announced plans to use SMRs to power their data centres. So they have trust in SMRs. I happen to believe that it should be the future of nuclear in this country. A couple of questions for the Secretary of State. In this announcement, a new public company will be set up, GB Energy Nuclear. Could the Secretary of State set out why a new company is required, how much it will cost the public purse, and why it's based in Warrington? I have nothing wrong with Warrington, of course, but why has the decision been taken to base that in Warrington? And also, could the Secretary of State outline when we would expect meaningful deployment of these modular reactors in the UK?
He asked good questions. On the first question, this is a development from Great British Nuclear. Great British Energy Nuclear is a development of that organisation, which is currently based in Warrington. On deployment, I sort of aware of the record of people promising deployment and then it not being delivered. Look, the truth is that we're expecting final investment decision in the next few years. And then deployment in the early to mid 2030s, I think, is the fairest way to put it. But I agree with him about the potential there is, and I also agree with him, by the way, which is why I'm said I'm open to the role of the private sector, that there may be private sector partners who want to come in and build sooner, and that would be great.
Luke Murphy.
You, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I refer to my register of members' interest. Can I welcome this investment in both our energy security and jobs? I know from my own visit to Sizewell with the Energy Security and Net Zero Select Committee that the jobs in the nuclear industry are well paid, high skilled, good jobs. And does the Secretary of State agree that this is in part because of the strong relationship between business, trade unions and the government in the sector, and that there is actually much to be learned from this relationship in other parts of the energy sector and beyond?
I think my honourable friend characteristically puts it incredibly well, which is I do think that the nuclear industry offers us a model of good employee relations and a good strong role for trade unions, but both ensuring safety and guaranteeing good terms and conditions for workers. And I think it's I think it's a lesson that other parts of the energy industry, including the renewables sector, can definitely learn from.
Richard Ford.
Madam Deputy Speaker, new jobs in clean energy are really very welcome. And what we've seen at Hinkley C in the southwest is that many of the skilled jobs are going to young people from beyond the area. Given social mobility challenges in East Anglia and in West Somerset, can the Minister comment on investment in colleges and skills to encourage applications for these new jobs and apprenticeships from the local area?
Good.
If I may say so, I think the Honourable Gentleman puts it incredibly well. And that certainly was my impression when I went to Hinkley Point C, is seeing the impact it has on the local economy, and we want to do the same at Sizewell C as well. And there is plans to set up a local college, in a way modelling some of the stuff that was done at Hinkley Point C. So I think he's so right about the massive opportunities there are here, and opportunities that we must exploit.
Mark Ferguson.
Madam Deputy Speaker, as a child, Sizewell was an important word to me, as was Wilfer, as was Hunterston, Dungeness, Dounreay and Hinkley, because they were places that my father, based in Gateshead, went to work. Can he assure me that this announcement today will be part of bringing back those fantastic, safe jobs that are so important for Gateshead in the nuclear industry?
Well, I'm really glad my honourable friend asked this question and talked about his sort of heritage and family history on this. I think it reflects something really real, which is there's been a great tradition of the nuclear industry in this country. It went through a sort of extended hiccup, I think it is fair to say. And it is really important that we are bringing it back. These are good, long-term, secure jobs and jobs that people take real pride in, and we should absolutely embrace that.
James Naish.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. As the Chair of the APPG for Fusion Energy and the Chair of the APPG for the East Midlands, a huge thank you on behalf of my constituents in my region for these two major announcements today, Rolls-Royce winning the SMR contract and the £2.5 billion for Fusion Energy. Does the Secretary of State agree with me that these large infrastructure projects offer huge apprenticeship and job opportunities for my region? And will he commit to meeting me and Claire Ward, the Mayor of the East Midlands, to discuss how the Ratcliffe-on-Soar power station can play its role?
Well, I congratulate my honourable friend on his sort of two-hatted advocacy on these issues, and I think it is really important point that he makes. You know, the potential of the new prototype fusion plant is huge, the wider potential of nuclear is huge, and I look forward to having discussions with him about this.
Jim Shannon.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. First of all, can I thank the Secretary of State very much for his statement and for his clear positivity in every word that he put forward today. We're very welcome to hear the news and look forward to how we can all benefit across this great nation. I very much welcome the news that nuclear energy is to be secured for the United Kingdom and also for the job security and many contracts available. So can the Secretary of State confirm that companies from the United Kingdom will have secure contracts and supply materials and manpower? And how can government ensure that each area of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland can benefit and will benefit from this massive investment? Thank you so much.
I thank the honourable gentleman, and look, there is a really important that there is a four nations approach to the supply chain contracts that they have, and that's something that I'm very keen to ensure. There are going to be thousands of contracts in the supply chain, huge opportunities for Northern Ireland, and I'm determined that we deliver them.
Final question, Paul Wall.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Andy Burnham's Atom Valley Mayoral Development Zone for Advanced Manufacturing is going to be based in Rochdale, Oldham and Bury, and it's so named in honour of Ernest Rutherford's groundbreaking research at the University of Manchester in splitting the atom. So does my honourable friend welcome the fact that today's huge public investment in both nuclear but also nuclear fusion will rely on precisely the kind of research, cutting-edge research, that will be done at the Sustainable Manufacturing and Materials Centre in Rochdale?
Well, I congratulate my honourable friend on that question and on the new centre, which is incredibly appropriately named. And look, we should really celebrate our history on these issues. And the way to honour our history is by building the future for nuclear. And that's what today, Madam Deputy Speaker, is all about.
That's the end of the statement. I'll give the front benches a few moments to Point of order, Paul Holmes.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. On a point